I have muted myself already, Cynthia.
Welcome.
Sure.
Thank you so much for joining the Assuaged student panel. Today we have our advisor, Jeff Hoffman. He is founder of World Youth Horizons, and we wanted to cover that, and we just welcome you on our live discussion today, Jeff.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yay. So please tell us a little bit about your background and all the wonderful things that you do for these classes.
So I am a longtime serial entrepreneur, software engineer by trade, but I've been doing startups my whole life pretty much. A lot in tech, but also in media, entertainment, and music, film, and television, as well as internet. But been involved in 8 startups. We had been part of some really big successes like Priceline and ubid.com. We've had some failures along the way. We've sold some companies, taken some public, and shut some down. I have always focused. Today, I spend my time, I really committed the second half of my life to teaching people entrepreneurship. But I have to say, it's not about business or money. Entrepreneurship is about self-determination. It's teaching people, excuse me, how to design their own future and own their future. And so I teach it all over the world. I'm the chairman of the Global Entrepreneurship Network, which is on the ground in 190 countries, teaching people how to launch a business. How do you take an idea and turn it into a business? And then we do that as well. I'm part of something called the Unreasonable Group, where we do the same thing all over the world, but we work with social entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs around the world who are designing things to make the world a better place. So I'm the founding board member of that. And then we're going to talk about, I'll wait till we come up to this, World Youth Horizons, which is my youth charity, where we do everything I just talked about, but we do it for kids. Because the idea is entrepreneurship's not a job, guys. Entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's the mindset of accountability. It's the mindset of problem solving. So the younger we can teach kids to stop complaining about the world and start fixing it, the better place the world's going to be when they grow up into adults. So I spend much more of my time with youth, with young people around the world than I do with adults, certainly when it's my choice. So that's a little bit about my background. But I would love to keep moving and just sort of answer your questions.
I'll proceed. Jeff has been invited to more than 60 countries, and I'm sorry. Jeff supports the White House. There's something wrong with our slides here. They're going back and forth. I apologize, Jeff. Jeff supports the White House, the State Department, the United Nations, and similar organizations internationally on economic growth initiatives and entrepreneurship programs. His website is www.jeffhoffman.com.
Jeff has been invited to more than 60 countries to speak on innovation, entrepreneurship, and he's an engaging storyteller. He applies his vast experience to problems that challenge all entrepreneurs, and he's trying to make a difference in the world. And like he said, he does focus on making a difference in the world of young adults and kids. His services include business consulting, executive coaching, marketing consulting, leadership development, public speaking, team building, life coaching, management consulting, and many, many more things.
So Jeff's been featured on CNBC, WSJ, Fox News, CNN, Time, Fast Company, and NRP. He's also produced many TV shows, including movies in Hollywood, and musical events, including concert tours, charity events with artists such as Elton John, Britney Spears, NSYNC, Boyz II Men, and others, and serves on numerous charity events. Jeff was also inducted into the Entrepreneurs Hall of Fame by the CEO Council. And there's a tweet.
The incredible work and talent of Mr. Hoffman has elected him the recipient of various awards and accolades, including Champion of Entrepreneurship Award from JP Morgan Chase and Citibank, and his honorary placement once again in the Entrepreneurs Hall of Fame. So congratulations on all of your admirable achievements. A very important initiative undertaken by Mr. Hoffman also involves the World Youth Horizons, an organization that supports youth around the world to better the life of millions of children through unique opportunities, empowerment programs, and mentorship support. Of course, in this incredible mission, he's not alone, with rapper Pitbull joining the goal to create bright young leaders of the future in 2020. You can visit the website dreamtank.co today to find out more, as well as worldyouthhorizons.com to donate.
So we are on a mission to leave an impact. Join us. The World Youth Horizons is the mission which has been started by Jeff and his partner, and together they are changing lives across the world. Jeff, I would like to ask you this question. How was this mission formed?
Sure, I'm really glad you asked that. So, as I was saying, well, here's a really interesting thing, guys, that's important to note. A lot of times, people from the West, whether it's the US or Europe, have this tendency to somehow think that we're smarter than everyone else because, you know, where did Apple, Google, Facebook, these companies come from? The US. So people think maybe all the great companies, a lot of them, most of them come from here, we must be smarter. It isn't true. The truth is that intelligence is spread equally across the world. Opportunity is not, okay? Resources are not. And so what I discovered here, this is, I'll tell you what happened. I actually was asked to go out to Silicon Valley, which is supposed to be one of the most intelligent places on earth. I gave a speech at Stanford. Then I got on a plane and I flew to West Africa. And I was in a village in Senegal where a 19-year-old man approached me that wanted to talk to me. And this 19-year-old started talking. And I closed my eyes and I thought to myself, if you could take away the fact that I was sitting in the dirt because his house was made of mud and he had no running water or electricity, and the sound outside wasn't the traffic of Silicon Valley, it was a goat trying to get inside the hut. You could take all that away and just listen to this man's words. He was smarter than anybody I met in Silicon Valley that week. Intelligence is equally distributed across the human race. Opportunity is not. So what he said to me was, Mr. Hoffman, I have all these ideas. I just don't know what to do. I want to get jobs for all the people. Homes, sorry. He said, I want everybody in this village to live in an actual home. I want them to have an income so they can feed their kids. I want them to have jobs. And I have ideas, but I just don't know where to start. And so World Youth Horizons is when I realized that we need to teach people how to take their ideas and turn them into something so they can take care of people. It's the ripple effect. If you teach, well, I'll show you how the ripple effect works. I mentored this young 19-year-old and I helped him turn his idea into a company. And today, not only do the 20 families in his village have jobs and houses, because that's what he wanted, but he has 350 employees in 7 West African countries. That is called the ripple effect. Teaching young people, like I said earlier, to stop complaining about the world and start fixing it, and showing them how to turn their ideas into businesses, charities, nonprofits. Go build something and take care of the people where you live. That is what I created World Youth Horizons to do. For us to be able to support youth, step one is a lot of times they need food, they need shelter, they need, shoes and clothing, then they need education. So we provide all those things so we can get them into an educational environment where they have a chance to start creating ideas. Then we teach them how to implement those ideas. So that's how it all started. Thank you for asking that.
Who is next on slide 11? I see Rachika.
Ruchika?
I'm so sorry. I was trying. I thought I have unmuted myself. I'm sorry. Yeah. So we just want to know the World Youth Horizon. What are the other initiatives you are doing with that one?
Sure, I'll tell you three of them.
Okay.
One of them is they're the three that are listed here. We actually do more than this. So the youth home is an orphanage in Uganda that we fund. It was a young orphan himself. Robert, I think, is only 23 years old. And 50 children, 50 orphans that are at this youth home that live there full time, that we have to take care of. And all the things that you guys take for granted, they don't even have. We connect on WhatsApp and video when we can get internet, and looking at these kids and realizing one day, most of them didn't even have shoes, and ordering 50 pairs of shoes, and then clothing for a lot of these kids and food. And one day I realized they just sleep in the dirt. And so that was the day we ordered 50 beds and blankets and 50 mosquito nets. And then guess what? You have to pay to go to school there. So we were able to pay for the school fees to get all 50 kids in school, many of them for the first time. And when you send a kid to school in Uganda, you have to feed them. So we had to deliver lots of food to the school to feed our 50 kids and get them books. And last week, we bought them backpacks, which was a new thing for them. So funding an orphanage in Uganda, it takes two things. It takes caring and it takes money, right? So every time people donate even a little bit to worldyouthhorizons.com, it goes to buy books for these kids, to put them in school, to feed them. Another project that's similar, that's on the bottom there, was there's a school in Ethiopia. And I just have to tell you, this school was created by a young man that I met in Ethiopia. When he was 6 years old, his whole family was killed. And he hid and escaped. And when you're a 6-year-old orphan on the streets of Ethiopia during civil war with soldiers and rebels, the only way to stay alive is to live in the sewers underground in Ethiopia. If you could imagine how disgusting it would be to live in a sewer in the US, imagine what one looks like in Ethiopia. And he ate out of the trash piles. So most of the kids died from crime or violence or disease living in the sewers, or they died from the bacteria because they ate food they found in the trash bins. This young man lived, and he realized that the only way out of the life he had was education. So he started doing odd jobs when he got to 9 years old for people, and they would give him coins. And you know what he'd do with the coins? Instead of buying food like the other kids, he made a decision. He continued to eat trash, and he used all his money to buy books, because the last thing his mother told him before she died was the only way out was education. So this young man wanted to build a school in Ethiopia and get all the kids out of the sewers and clean them up, get them medical treatment, clothe them, give them a place to live, and feed them and put them in school. So we helped build a school in Ethiopia where hundreds of kids now are no longer living in sewers, they're living at school. And it's like a boarding school, and they have a chance at life. There, to give you an example, just one last one, the one that's in the middle there, Dream Hustle Code, is an example of an organization we work with in the US that teaches kids in the US, in Chicago and Detroit, in tough neighborhoods. And this was started by a young man that I met in Chicago when he was 12 years old, and he came up to me and he said, "Mr. Hoffman, will you be my mentor?" When he was 12, and I've been mentoring him ever since, this amazing young man named Ian. And he teaches hundreds of kids online. He teaches them how to write code. And it's a coding school, Dream Hustle Code. But we do some other really cool things. Again, if you donated, I'm just giving you an idea. If you donated to, and by the way, guys, I don't go out and ask for donations. The amazing people at Assuaged just offered to help. I do this myself. But I'm just letting you know, when people do donate, we're going to do it anyway. But when you donate, you're adding one more kid that you can help with. So kids that live in the hood, that have never seen anything but gangs, drugs, and violence, don't know they have options. If you've never seen anything different, you'll continue to believe those are your only choices. So one of the programs we do, for example, with Dream Hustle Code is take these kids out of some really bad neighborhoods and check this out. We fly them to Silicon Valley to give them tours of Google and Facebook and Apple so they can see that if they get a good education, they could have a career in tech. And then last time we flew them down to Hollywood and I took them on a personal tour of Warner Brothers Studios so they could learn about the creative industries and see that there is a whole nother set of industries they could be part of if they got an education and got out. So that's an example of 3 programs that we support at World Youth Horizons. Thank you for asking that question.
Thank you for taking out the time to answer my question. Thank you.
Sean, do you want to go ahead, Sean? Is Sean around, Cynthia?
Oh, I think he is now coming up.
Yeah, he's coming. Yeah, Sean? Is he around, Ruchika? Sean?
He is there. I don't think so. He's there.
Okay, sure. So, Dean, Dean, you want to go ahead with this slide? Thank you, Dean.
You're welcome. Speaking at United Nations on global entrepreneurship, can you please let us know on the global? Let us know things about the Global Entrepreneurship Network?
Yeah, so I mentioned it before. We literally created this with this mission in mind. Anybody to help anybody anywhere that wants to launch their own business be able to do so. That is the simple mission of the Global Entrepreneurship Network. And now we build ecosystems around entrepreneurs to help people launch businesses. And we're on the ground in 190 different countries. One last thing about that, I'm the chairman of it. We hold something, for example, it's probably the world's largest Shark Tank-like pitch competition. We hold something called the Entrepreneurship World Cup. If any of you want to enter, just Google it. Last year, we had 175,000 entrepreneurs from 200 countries apply. And we held pitch competitions like Shark Tank in 100 different countries. Then we picked the 100 best companies. And then myself and I invited a friend of mine, for those of you who watch Shark Tank, the real show, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, asked him to come, and Kevin and I judged the finals, and we gave out, honestly, millions of dollars to really innovative entrepreneurs who had cool new ideas. That's called the Entrepreneurship World Cup. So that's what we do at Global Entrepreneurship Network. Thank you.
Sean, are you?
Yeah, I got it. The secret to building self-sustaining companies. In his career, Jeff has been the founder of multiple startups. He has been the CEO of both and private companies, and he has served as a senior executive in many capacities. Jeff has been part of a number of well-known successful startups, including Priceline.com, Booking.com, Ubid.com, and more.
So we would love to ask you, Jeff, how to grow unreasonably successful?
Yeah, so that's a really good question.
Oh, yeah.
Our organization, the Unreasonable Group, and I'll just tell you guys that it is named that after a George Bernard Shaw quote. George Bernard Shaw, the playwright, once said that reasonable people adapt themselves to the world around them. Unreasonable people expect the world to adapt to them. Therefore, all progress is dependent upon unreasonable people. So basically what we said was, let's go find all the people crazy enough to think they can change the world and help them do it. And so that's what Unreasonable is all about. It's finding people who are solving the world's biggest problems, feeding, solving hunger, hacking hunger, clean drinking water, safety and security, getting education to everybody, getting off-grid energy to people who don't have electricity, people that are solving problems like that. At Unreasonable, we help them grow, finance, mentor. We just want to make sure that those companies become sustainable companies that are building a sustainable world. And that's what Unreasonable does. They focus on sustainability. Instead of giving you food, we teach people how to farm, and we provide them the technology to do it, as an example. So that's what Unreasonable is. It's one of my favorite things I do in the world. We do it all over the world. And again, we literally are finding the entrepreneurs that are most likely to solve the world's biggest problems, and we're helping them do it. That's Unreasonable. We once, by the way, guys, sailed a ship of entrepreneurs around the planet Earth to introduce them to sort of the world's problems and to solve them. That was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. It turns out it takes 101 days to sail literally around the planet Earth, but we had a ship filled with entrepreneurs and we did that.
Oh yeah, thank you so very much, Jeff. I just loved the word unreasonable, and you can actually become unreasonably successful also. Yeah, thank you so very much, Jeff.
Yeah, we like that word too.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so very much, Jeff.
All right, so next we would love to hear about the Going Public initiative.
All right, sure. Very excited about that. So we are filming a new TV show. I just got back from a week of filming. It is called Going Public. It is like Shark Tank, except that you, the viewer, get to invest in the companies, not Mark Cuban. Okay? On Shark Tank, the rich people sitting in the chairs invest in the companies and get richer. What we wanted to do was democratize investing, which means that, again, Mark Cuban's already a billionaire, and he gets a chance to invest in these companies. What we're doing now is we're giving every one of you a chance. So when you're watching our show, on the show, you will see me mentoring the companies, helping them get ready to grow. So you'll be able to learn about what it takes to grow a company into a big one by watching me teach these companies how to grow big on the TV show. But if you like the company, you can buy some of the stock for whatever amount you want, and you get to buy the stock pre-IPO, meaning before the company goes public. And the ones that go public, we're going to do the IPOs, ringing the bell on the stock market live on television. And you'll get to see your investment turn into stock on the stock market because we're letting you buy the investment before the companies go public. But one other thing we're doing with Going Public with this TV show, by the way, if you want to learn about my stuff, I just want to say these, even though they're probably on a slide. World Youth Horizons is at worldyouthhorizons.com. For me personally, it's jeffhoffman.com. For Global Entrepreneurship Network, it's Gen, G-E-N, for Global Entrepreneurship Network, genglobal.org. For Unreasonable, it's called unreasonablegroup.com. And for this show, it's goingpublic.com. But we're doing one other thing. We're also addressing diversity and inclusion. Most of the companies that you see ringing the bell in the stock market are white males, and we're going to fix that problem the best we can. The first company that we're bringing on the show is founded by 2 women, and they're minority women at that. One of the companies is 2 black males. Another company is 2 veterans of the U.S. Air Force. We are focusing on creating opportunities for women, for minorities, for veterans, for people that don't usually get those opportunities. So that's what this show is all about. We're filming it the next couple months. It'll air later in the summer. I hope you guys will watch it.
That's really awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And next, we would like to hear more about info sponging and what it is and how we can use it to lead our lives.
Sure, and I'm glad you asked this too, because it also enables me to talk about the importance of education. So here's what info sponging is. We were very blessed that I've been in more than one industry. I've had multiple careers. I'm a software engineer, right? And I built tech companies like Ubid and like Priceline. So I was in the internet business. And then I launched a music company. And as you mentioned before, we did tours with people like NSYNC and Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, et cetera. And, you know, I was even blessed enough that we won a Grammy in that business. Then we started a TV company. And a couple of years ago, we won an Emmy for TV production. Then I started making movies, and I did a sports company. People ask me how it is I was able to do different things and have all these different careers. And the answer is because I'm not smarter than anyone else. I am a lifelong learner. And when people say to me, why do I need to go to school? I'll just quit, or college even. Why do I need to go to college? I'll just quit and become an entrepreneur. I'll tell you why you need to go to college or stay in school if you're in high school, middle school, I don't care what it is because people say to me when I speak at schools all over the world, middle schools, high schools, colleges, and people say to me, why do I need to do this? And here's the truth. I took a lot of math, but nobody ever drove up to my office later in my life and whipped out their credit card and said, quick, how much does the square root of a number cost? Right? No one ever asked me to do the square root of a number ever again. So kids say to me, then why do I need to know how to do that? I'll tell you why, because you're missing the point. What school is teaching you is how to learn. It's not the stuff to learn that you learn. So let me give you this example. Here I am later in life, and I have an idea, and I want to launch a company. I want to launch a music company, right? And do music tours. The first thing I have to do is study the music industry and do research. You know how I know how to do research? Because my history teacher taught me how to do research for research papers. I'm a really good researcher because I paid attention in my history class. So I was able to research and study the music industry. Now I had an idea, but guess what? I had to write up my idea in a proposal to send to someone in the music industry. You know why I'm a good writer? Because my English teacher taught me how to write properly. And then the person called me back and said, can you come to my office and talk about your idea? And you know why I was good at talking about my idea? Because my speech teacher taught me how to present it. And then they hired us. And all of a sudden I was the CEO of a company. And one day my employees came in and said, Jeff, we're really stuck on a problem and we don't know how to solve it. And I said, go up to the board, write the problem down. And they did. And I said, that's a big problem. Can you break the problem into smaller problems? And we broke it into smaller problems. I said, can you make those into smaller problems? And we eventually, instead of one big giant hairy problem, we had a bunch of small problems on the board. And I assigned one small problem to each person and said, come back when you have the answer and we'll roll the answers back up. They said, dude, how did you know how to do that? I said, my science teacher taught me. My engineering teacher taught me structured thinking, problem solving. My math teacher taught me analytical thinking. Break a big math problem down into lots of little math problems. That's why I was successful in music, film, television, sports, and internet, because in school, I learned how to learn. That is why you need to finish school. Info sponging, let me just quickly answer what info sponging is. Info sponging is a challenge I give myself that you should give yourself. I challenge myself to learn one new thing every day of my life. Info sponging is 15 minutes of the day. I do this the first 15 minutes of every day. I get up and for 15 minutes, I study something brand new that I don't need to know. I read an article. I watch a short video. I click on a website. I talk to a person I've never talked to before. I read a magazine or a book. 15 minutes out of every day, learn one new thing every day that you don't even know why you're learning it. I just follow my curiosity and I just look at something that is going to teach me something I don't even know why I'm learning every day of my life. And then I write down one sentence every morning, which is, what did I learn today that I didn't know yesterday? And why do I do info sponging? Because if you think of every new thing you learn like a puzzle piece, guys, if I gave Dean or Samantha, I gave Samantha a puzzle piece every day. The first day, I'd say, here, Samantha, and she'd say, and I'd say, what is this? She'd say, I don't know, it's a blue puzzle piece. How would I know it's one piece? If I gave her 2 or 3 pieces, she still wouldn't know what the puzzle was. But if you collected a piece out of that puzzle box every day, and every day you move those pieces around, one day Samantha would call me and say, Jeff, I figured it out. I know what this is going to be. I can see the pattern forming. This puzzle is going to be a castle in the Irish countryside. That is what smart people do with knowledge. They keep collecting bits of knowledge and staring at it and moving it around. And one day they say, it's your eureka moment. That's what happened to it. That's how we created companies like Priceline, is because we had people taking different bits of information, thinking about them all and saying, can I create, you know what I ask myself every day when I wake up? What can I do today that I couldn't even do yesterday? And the reason why is while you were sleeping, somebody invented something really cool, and the first person to figure out what to do with it wins. That's why I do info sponging. So every day, challenge yourself to learn one new thing from some new place, some new website, some new person, some new video every day of your life. And what happens is you will be the one that has the next great idea, because your head is filled with so many pieces of information that nobody else has. That's what info sponging is. I do it every day.
That's really awesome. Thank you for sharing.
So next, I was wondering if you could tell us about the time where you had to count Evander Holyfield's reps. It says here that as you heard 299 and 300, he paused to double check if he had reached 300, and once you did reassure him, he did one more. And
so let me share with you guys this story. I usually end on this story, by the way, but we'll do it right now because you have it. All the dreams in the world go nowhere without hard work, right? It's not what you dream about while you sleep. It's what you do when you wake up that counts. Everybody has a dream. Very few people actually do the work when they wake up. I have this thing on my board at home. I'm on the road right now in Colorado, but I have this thing on my board at home that's a fundamental truth. Everybody wants to be successful just till they find out what it takes, right? People say to me, man, you get to do all this cool stuff. They see me on TV with Pitbull or whatever. And they want my life. They just don't want to do the work that I had to do to get here. So what I want you to understand is that hard work is even more important than intelligence. I went to school with some really smart kids that never did anything. They just sat and talked about smart stuff. I grew up with some really average people, average by SAT or school standards, that have done amazing things in their life because they were willing to work for it. So here's the story. If you don't know who Evander Holyfield is, he was the boxing heavyweight champ. If you don't know that he knocked out Mike Tyson, you probably do know that in the rematch, Mike Tyson bit my friend's ear off, and everybody knows that story. So Evander was getting ready for a fight. I would always go with my friend to Vegas for his fights. And he was training, and he was doing an exercise that he does 300 times a day. And I was counting for this crazy exercise. And when he was finished, he said, hey, Jeff, he was still holding the weights and pouring sweat. And he said, hey, Jeff, was that 299 or was it 300? And I said, Evander, it was 300. And he said, did I do 299 reps or did I do 300? I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is insane. Most human beings couldn't do this exercise 10 times. You do it 300 times a day. What the heck difference does it make? You did 300. And he looked at me and he said, I think I only did 299. So he did one more rep of this exercise. And as he was sitting up, I rolled my eyes like, are you kidding me? What difference does it make? And he said something that honestly, you guys, changed my life. He sat straight up and he goes, Jeff, look at me. And we sort of locked eyes. And he said this, and it's seriously life-changing. He said, the difference between 299 and 300 is the difference between being the heavyweight champion of the world and every other fighter. And I just had goosebumps. And I closed my eyes, and he walked out of the room quietly. And I stood there for like 10 minutes with my eyes closed because I wanted this lesson to soak into my soul. This lesson has nothing to do with sports, guys. It has to do with if you're not willing to work hard enough and you set a goal of doing 300 of something today, when you get to 299, that's almost 300. That's good enough. And the next day, when you're at 298, that's almost 299. That's good enough. And the third day, 297. And you know what's happening? Someone down the street from you is doing 300 and they're going to win and not you. And so I took that philosophy into my everyday life. I literally wrote on my board the number 299 and I circled it and put a slash through it. No 299s in this house. And I love it when people like you guys write in your room a no 299 symbol and send me a picture of it. I love seeing those because it means people get it, that there is no dream, there is no success without hard work. And so when I'm doing anything in my life, one day I was working on a proposal. It could be a paper you're writing for school. I wrote a proposal and I was leaving work. It was midnight. I was tired. I was done. I was like, this is good enough. And I was walking out and I was thinking, this proposal is good enough. We'll win this bid. But as I walked out, I looked at my own wall where I had a no 299. And I asked myself, Jeff, did you do 299 or did you give 300? Did you do your best every day of your life? Did you do 300? And I was being honest. I was like, I only did 299. It's a good proposal and it's good enough, but it's not my best. And I went back to work. I took my shoes off, poured some coffee, rolled up my sleeves. I stayed 4 more hours. And when I was done, I was like, this is my best, the best I can do. This is 300. I finished as strong as I could finish. And I sent that proposal, and that one proposal won 6 contracts for my company. And it only would have won 1 if I had not been willing. So what I am telling you is do everything in life, no 299s. Don't quit because it gets hard, and don't stop short of your goal. When we were making the album, we won a Grammy for producing. I was a producer. We won a Grammy for the best jazz album. And even though in a million years I never dreamed of being all dressed up and being on the red carpet at the Grammys and winning a Grammy, that was never my dream. But when we were in the studio one day all by ourselves thinking no one would ever hear our music and the dream is a million miles away and probably never going to happen, you know what I remember saying? Let's just make this album like we're trying to win a Grammy. Even though we'll probably never win a Grammy in our lives, do everything like you're trying to win a Grammy. Because you may never win a Grammy in your life. Forget a Grammy, whatever your top climbing your mountain is, but you're guaranteed you're never going to win anything if you don't even give that effort. That's the story. So no 299s, people. Finish and finish strong in your lives.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I feel like you've told us a story before about Michael Jordan and how he would play every game as his last. So thank you for sharing that as well. And for you've also said that the scarcest resource in the world is not money, it's talent. Go and hunt for the best of the best. I think it's great that you're putting out that money shouldn't be the mindset. So can you please elaborate more on what you think would make a great team?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a great example. I'm glad you have this picture up because obviously Pitbull's one of my closest friends and we're business partners. And I'm going to tell you a story. He likes to always repeat the phrase, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And he's right. And one of the most dramatic moments for me happened recently. Everything is about who you surround yourself with. And people always talk about, they use money as an excuse. I'm broke, so I can't chase my dream. If I had money, I could chase my dream. The path to your dream isn't money. It's the people you surround yourself with. Build great teams. The reason that I've been successful is not because of me, guys. It's because I spent all my time trying to find people smarter than me and talk them into wanting to be around me. When I meet people, if I was meeting one of you in person or even on Zoom, you know what I'm thinking the whole time? Could I hire her? Could I get her on my team? What could she do? I would love to have you. I am assessing what you're good at, what your superpower is, and if I could use you on my team to make my team stronger. I do that every day of my life. Everybody I meet, I'm making notes. I'm writing it down later. that I just met so-and-so, and what are her strengths, what's her superpower, and could I use her on my team? So thinking about networking all the time, building your team, not when you need it, building your team before you need it. That's important. But constantly when I meet people, I'm like, hey, Holly, tell me your story. And I want to know your story because I want to know who you are. I want to know what you care about, and I want to know what you're good at, because you know what's going to happen one day? I'm going to have an idea and I'm not going to know how to do it. And I'm going to like, oh my God, that's that Holly girl. She knows how to do this. I'll call her. I don't build my network when I need it. I build it every day of my life. And every person I meet, I assess what are their skills and could I use them? And the reason that I wanted to use the pit bull example of who you surround yourself with was I met a guy, you can look him up. He's now a UFC fighter named Yuli, Y-U-L-I. But the reason Yuli's famous is recently he recorded, it's all over YouTube and Instagram, the fastest knockout in UFC history, 3-second knockout. But I was talking to Yuli, and he and Pitbull and I were in Miami. And Yuli was talking about a turning point in his life. And the turning point is in life, his life was on the mean streets of Miami in the bad part of town where it was all drugs and gangs. And it was him and this little Cuban immigrant kid named Pitbull. And they were in the middle of nothing but bad influence and people that ran drugs and were in gangs and committed crimes. And that's what this young guy Yuli was doing. And one day this young kid, Pitbull, his name's Armando. Armando actually said to him, I know we're good friends and we've been together since we were kids, but I can't be around you anymore. And Yuli said, you're unfriending me? And Pitbull said, I'm unfriending you. That was not the word back then. And he said, why? And he said, because the way to avoid going to prison is to stop hanging out with people who go to prison. He said, I'm not going to do crime. I'm not going to run drugs. He said, I got big plans for myself and I can't be around people like you anymore. And Yuli said he wound up in prison for running drugs, and Pitbull wound up becoming Mr. Worldwide. And he said he was sitting in prison, and he said one of the most important things Pitbull could have done for him was tell him, I can't be your friend anymore. As painful as this is, you can't be around me anymore because you're bringing me down, you're not bringing me up, and I got big plans for myself. The people you surround yourself determine your future. And listening to that message in prison is what turned his life around. When he got out of jail, he didn't go back to the drugs. He didn't go back to the gangs. He didn't go back to the streets. He surrounded himself with people he could learn from. And now he's a very successful athlete. And that all happened because somebody unfriended him. You got to unfriend the bad influences in your life, and you got to go friend request the people who can bring you up. Your network is everything. Thank you guys for asking that.
Thank you so much. And I remember at a mentorship meeting that we had with you, you did mention the quote, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And it's really inspiring to hear so many of your success stories of you following your different kinds of countless dreams and passions. I was wondering, what would your best advice be for those who are afraid to fail or who have already failed when they tried putting themselves out there?
Yeah, so, I probably told you guys this as well. Don't fear failure, guys. Fear not trying. When you fail at something, you can shake it off and live with it. But you can't. I'll give you a prime example. I wanted to make a movie, and I thought I could do it, and I wanted to try it. If I tried to make a movie and I failed, I could say, hey, man, I gave it my shot, and it wasn't for me. I can live with that. I can shake off failure. What you can't shake off is never trying. Do you want to know why, guys? If I had never tried to make a movie, you know what would have happened? Every time I ever went to a movie theater, I would have thought to myself, I wonder if this could have been me. If you wanted to sing in your life, if you wanted to be a doctor, I don't care what it is. Every time you went to the doctor, you'd wonder if that could be you. Every time you went to a concert, you'd wonder if that could be you on stage. That eats you away from the inside out. So don't fear failure. Fear not trying. Give yourself a shot. If you fail, you shake it off and go on. You never have to think about it again. If you never try, you will spend your whole life every time you walk into a movie theater wondering if that couldn't be you. That's why I'm never afraid to fail. I've failed a lot of times. I've had some amazingly dumb ideas. And you know what happens when you fail? Everybody laughs at you and it hurts. And you know what you do? You just shake it off and get over it. And there is a thing that I think you guys at Assuaged saw on my board behind me in my home office that says upgrade your haters to VIP. Because the truth is failure hurts, it sucks. And you know what else happens? Everybody laughs at you and they say, I thought your idea was so great. And you have to be strong enough to survive that and say, okay, you guys are right. I'm a loser. I'm an idiot. I'm a failure. And then you just go shake it off and you start something else. And the reason I put that is because the first people, well, I was doing a concert one night with Elton John, my concert that my company produced. I was getting ready to go on stage and introduce Elton John to 28,000 people. And all my friends were calling me. Actually, the same thing was when we were doing a show with Beyonce. All my friends wanted to meet Beyonce. Can I get tickets to the show? But I remember the Elton John night because everybody called me, man, can I get tickets to your show? And here's what I'm thinking. Really, you want tickets to the show that will never exist, that's being produced by the company that will never exist, because I had this dream that I'm not good enough to make because it'll never happen. When I said one day I'm going to produce concerts and tours, all these people laughed at me and said, it'll never work. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. And I was like, all the haters want tickets to the show? That's just what happens to you in life. Don't listen to those people. There's always going to be haters. They don't hate you. They hate themselves. They don't want you to succeed because then they feel bad for not trying. So you will always have people laughing at your dreams. And you will have people laughing when you fail. And you will always have non-believers and haters. Forget it. Get over those people. Shake it off. Take it. Be stronger than them. Because what happens is they're the first people asking you for tickets to your show. Even though, by the way, I said, you guys want tickets to the show? That's never going to happen because I don't know what the hell I'm doing and I'm just a big dreamer. And they're like, we never said that. And I was like, every one of you said that. And they're like, no, we didn't. I said, whatever, right? They don't remember that. And I was telling this to a group of kids one day, and they said, I hope you didn't give them tickets. And I'm going to tell you something. Not only do I give my haters tickets, I upgraded them all to VIP. Because there's nothing better that you can do than have all your haters standing in VIP and somebody said, where'd you get the wristband? And they're like, Jeff gave it to me. And then they have to stand there and remember all the things they said about you before you upgraded them to VIP. Never get revenge, get success, and don't look back. I'm just glad you guys asked that. Don't live in fear, right? Don't fear. Fear's okay, but don't live in fear of failure. Live in fear of never giving yourself a chance to be something.
Kimberly, you want to go ahead?
There we go. I think we just answered this one. You're going to hear no every day of your life. You're going to hear a lot of no, and you overcome it by being the one that believes in you when nobody else believes in you. By the way, you really don't need all those people to believe in you because you're the one in the fight. I remember a fight, just really quickly, guys. I'm going to use an example of my friend Evander again. The fighter. When he was fighting Mike Tyson, everybody in the world thought, people were on TV, on ESPN, they were saying Evander Holyfield might die tonight. Mike Tyson is so vicious, he might kill him. In Las Vegas said it's like 50-1 odds he'll never win this fight. Everybody in the world thought that Evander Holyfield had no chance of winning the fight. And I remember something he said that night. Somebody said to him, whispered in his ear, everybody in the whole world thinks that you have no chance of winning this fight tonight. And Evander said something else I thought was really cool. He said, I know that everybody in the world thinks I have no chance of winning tonight, but I do, and I'm the one in the fight. The rest of the world is not in the ring with you. You are. He was the one fighting, and it turns out he knocked out Mike Tyson that night and shocked the world, while everybody else didn't believe in him. You need to believe. You don't need everybody else. You got to tune out no, because you're going to hear throughout your whole life. I never listened to no. Otherwise, I never would have been standing on the red carpet at the Grammys or winning an Emmy or any of the things we ever got to do if I let no get to me.
Jeff, I remember in our last presentation, you talked about how you were trying to be the CEO of your company and trying to do everything else within your company as well. But you were saying that it's better to just win a gold medal at one thing than to chase so many things. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, guys, for everybody, find your superpower and quit trying to be good at anything else. Quit kidding yourself. Nobody is good at everything. Each one of us was given a gift. Find yours and use it, and stop worrying about your strengths, right? One time when I was a CEO, someone showed me a spreadsheet, and I said, hey, I'm not really a numbers guy. And they're like, dude, you're a CEO. You have to know everything that's going on. And I said, well, numbers aren't my strength, right? And they're like, well, you better learn it. So you know what I did? I went online and I bought a book called Finance and Accounting for Dummies, basically. And I was like, I'm going to teach myself accounting and finance. And I was all excited. And I went home and I opened the book. And on page 1, I thought, this is one of the stupidest things I've ever done. You know what? What am I going to do next? I'm going to buy a book called Home Dentistry. I'm going to start pulling people's teeth. Hell no. I'm going to go to a dentist. So why am I pretending I'm going to learn finance? I don't know it. I'm never going to be good at numbers. Get someone else to do it. You know what I am good at? Marketing. That's my one thing. Find your superpower in life and stop kidding yourself and pretending you're good at anything else. Surround yourself with people who are smarter than you at everything you're weak at, and stick to the thing you're really good at. There's just not somebody that's good at everything everywhere. It doesn't happen. That's why I say win a gold medal at one thing. I only ever do one thing at a time. And by the way, that also means what I was telling you guys at Assuaged. When I was in the internet business, I was only in the internet business. When I was in the music business, if you called me and said, hey, Jeff, I want to show you something, I would say, unless you're going to show me how to sell out all the seats to Friday night's concert, call me next year, because I don't want to hear it. I'm just filling concert seats this year. And later, when I was if I was selling travel and you called me, I would say, unless you have an idea to get more butts in hotel beds, call me next year, because I don't want to hear it. Stay focused and finish things. By the way, that's also enabled me to fail fast in my life. My stupid ideas, I found out they were stupid pretty fast because I didn't let anybody distract me. Win a gold medal. Do one thing at a time in your life and focus on the thing you're good at. Find your superpower and find other people to do all the things that you don't know how to do. I think we still have time for a couple more and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so very much, Jeff. And Kimberly wants to ask you one more thing. Yeah.
Jeff, how do you make sure everything you do is one of your goals?
That is a learning process. Kimberly, it's a great question. I wouldn't say I knew that. And that is why failing is okay. Because the only way you're going to find out what your real passions are is to try things, right? You know, it's really crazy that we live in this world where, especially for younger people, if you went out and got a job and then you hated it and you told your parents, I want to quit, and they're like, you haven't even been there a year. And what the society calls you is, oh, you're a quitter. You know what's worse than quitting in 1 year? Waking up 5 years later and realizing you should have quit 4 years ago because you just wasted 4 years of your life. It's not, I'm going to word it to you guys this way. Finding out what you don't like is as important as knowing what you do like. It's called deselection, crossing stuff off your list. By the way, I started as a software engineer writing code, and it turns out I didn't love it. I actually hated my job, and I quit. I had a really good job with a good salary writing code as a developer. And when I quit, oh my God, my parents were mad at me. You had a great job and you quit. And I was like, but I don't like it. And they're like, well, welcome to adulthood. You do things you don't like. And I was like, why can't I find something I do like? And they said, because you're an adult now, you got to pay your bills. And I said, why can't I find something I like doing and find a way to pay my bills doing that? And they said, it doesn't work that way. And I was like, well, not with that attitude, it doesn't. And so I quit anyway, because I actually didn't like it. And so Kimberly, everybody called me a quitter. And what I did was I said, I'm crossing that one off my list until I find things that I like. So my answer to your question is you'll know it when you see it, but you won't see it unless you get off the couch and get out in the world and do stuff. I tried a lot of things in my life till I found the ones I was in love with. Give yourself experiences. Get engaged in the world. I don't spend much time sitting on my couch. I spend a lot of time out in the world trying things. And that's how I stumble. You might stumble into it. You're like, oh my God, this is exactly where I was supposed to be. How come I didn't know this before today? You'll know it when you see it, Kimberly, but don't stress over it and don't force it. Don't try to force yourself to find your passion because that's not your passion. Expose yourself to different things in the world, different people in different places, and you'll know it when you see it. But it's okay to try things and say, not this one, cross it off your list, and just take the abuse when people call you a quitter. Because you know what they do? They do a job they hated for 20 years, and they wake up later and realize that they didn't do any of the things they wanted. Do you know in the US, they did a study, and they said, be honest, how many people are really not fulfilled by their job and their career? In the US, it was 86% of people are not actually happy with the career choices they made or the job they had and don't feel fulfilled. I was much rather be called a quitter than be in the 86% because they didn't have the guts to quit my job because I hated it. Everybody else is saying, well, I don't want to be a quitter. Fine, then just waste your life, right? Don't waste your life, Kimberly. Try stuff. If you don't like it, move on. People will call you a quitter, shake it off. And one day they'll say, why is Kimberly so happy and we're all miserable at our crappy job? You know why Kimberly's so happy? Because she moved on when she found out what she didn't like.
Thank you
Great
so
question.
much. Really good advice.
Great question. Do we have time for more? I don't know what our time is.
Yeah, Ruchika wants to ask you about the advisory.
Yeah, so that one, I really have already explained. Try stuff. The reason that it says that ideas are welcome and execution is worshipped is everybody talks and nobody does anything. People are constantly from all over the world calling me. I want you to hear my idea. And sometimes I feel like saying, in the amount of time it took you to talk about this, you probably could have built a prototype. Stop talking and go do something. Take chances. You'll get stuff wrong, but it is perfectly fine to get stuff wrong. Try things. So everybody's talking. When people ask me about how I became successful, I'm not smarter than you. The world, you don't have to be the smartest person in the world. The world's most successful people aren't smarter than you. They just got busy. Everybody else was still on the couch with a beer in their hand talking about what they're going to do someday. I just do stuff. I get it wrong, but I learn by doing. That's what that's all it means about execution being worshipped. Go out and just try, because you won't learn how to do something till you start doing it. You can't really learn how to play baseball by watching it on TV. You actually need to put on a glove, get a baseball and a bat, and go outside. The same goes for life. You're not going to learn about life sitting on your couch. You're going to learn about it by going out there and being part of it. So if you have a business idea, just try it, start building it and see what happens. That's what that's all about. I was successful because I just started. I didn't know what I was doing at all. And I was a CEO at 24. You think I had any idea what I was doing? No, but I just started. I just tried. That's what that one means.
That's so awesome to hear, Jeff. And so we want to present this slide. We really feel privileged and blessed to present this slide. Having all your photos with the children that you are serving and loving so much. And so you are just asking people to visit the World Youth Horizons website. And so let's help Jeff give back. Yeah.
Yeah. And first of all, thank you. I appreciate the whole team, the whole community of Assuaged supporting this.
So much.
I know, there's this saying that says this, guys, you've heard it. The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. I know my why. You're looking at it in those pictures. I know that I was put here to help as many kids as I can get a better future than the one they have. That's why I do what I do every day in my life. And so that's what World Youth Horizons is about. And I have to give much gratitude to you guys for even talking about it, because every time anybody steps up and even puts $10 on there, you're helping a kid go to school. So anyway, thank you guys for supporting this effort. It's not about me, it's about these children, and they deserve a chance in life, and all I'm trying to do is give them one.
That's so inspiring to know, Jeff. Thank you so very much. And so, as always, we, as your mentees, we thank you so much for mentoring us, and it means a lot to us, Jeff. We'll make you feel proud of us always, and we say
Well,
thank you, thank you, thank you.
you guys know, because people always ask me, Jeff, what can I do for you? The only thing you can ever do for me is go out and live a happy, fulfilled, successful life, and then use your success to make somebody else's life better. I posted this the other day on my social media because people in the entrepreneurship space are always talking about exit strategies, and which means selling a company and making money. And I posted this the other day. The only exit strategy that matters is for you to leave the world a better place than you found it. Go out and do that. You guys, that's what makes me proud. And that's the way when people say, can we do something for you? That's what you can do. Go have a great life and give back in a way. And if you need to reach me, you guys already know, it's just jeff@jeffhoffman.com. You're welcome to reach out anytime. It might take me a while to get back to you. We're filming a TV show, but I promise you I eventually read all my emails and reply to them myself. It just takes me a while.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thanks,
Now it's
guys.
our turn. Yeah.
Thank you. Got to run, but I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jeff. Bye.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you so